Okay, today we're going to make dinner buns using bread maker dough. I like white buns, so that's what we're going to make. Okay, first, my recipe is really easy. It's all written on the top of a container that I keep my yeast, sugar, and salt in with a little measuring spoon that came with the bread maker. So it's just so easy to make it. So when I'm reading along, it says 1.5 cups of water or milk, but I use water, and then I just add a bit of powdered milk, just go by eyeball, probably about 2 tablespoons. And 2 tablespoons is also 1/8 of a cup, in case you didn't know that. And 2 tablespoons of butter. So I take my pound of butter and I chop it in half. Then I chop that half in half, and then I chop that in half. So that's 1/4, and then if I chop the 1/4 in half, I've got my 1/8 of a cup or 2 tablespoons of butter. It also calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar. So you just use the bigger side of the big scoop. I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of sugar. And it calls of 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So again, it's in the little bucket, my little salt. Everything's so handy this way. You can make it so fast. Take your 1.5 of the small side of the scoop. It's 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I've already measured out my 4 cups of flour. This is just an all-purpose white flour. Put that in. And then yeast. This is actually not bread maker yeast. This is just an active dry yeast. It works just as good as the bread maker yeast, and it's cheaper, so I do that. And it calls for 2 1/4. With bread, you don't have to be super exact. Then, just put it in your bread maker. Whatever your setting is for dough, mine is number 7 on the menu. And push start. And when the dough is ready, I'll show you how I make it into buns. After I've made my bread dough for 1 loaf, I take it out and I cut it in half with my fingers, and then I pinch that in half again, and then each half I will make a total of 8 buns. I don't like my buns too huge, but those was the size that I make prior to them rising. And then I'll bake them and show you what they look like after that. But to make a bun, I just take the dough, pinch it in half, and just kind of make a bun like that. And then you put that in the pan and it'll raise, and it looks good. As long as the top looks good. When I'm raising the buns, I just stick the trays right in the microwave, and they stay warm and they raise nicely. They're all ready to go in. They're nice and big. Look how beautiful they raised up. So as soon as the oven is ready, I'll pop them in. I like to cook them in a convection oven, 350 degrees for 15 minutes. Now I take these beautiful buns, and I take a piece of butter and just rub it all over the top. Makes for a delicious, soft crust. Aren't those beautiful? My goodness, look at these beautiful buns. You see that?